So here in Lubbock, as Lubbock is growing quickly, as is the surrounding area, there was a wait list for different kinds of forensic mental health assessments. And so when those people are on the wait list, sometimes they're in jail, sometimes they're on bond, but nothing is happening with their legal cases. And so by setting up these services, we were able to address those needs by having examiners who can see these defendants that need assessments. They don't have to sit and wait for very long. We can see them the next day in some cases. We can travel really quickly to where we need to be in the surrounding areas. And so it really just expedited the process and was able to offer people that are highly trained in this area of forensic mental health assessment do the evaluations, which also then benefits the defendants themselves. So having worked at the jail for about a year as the mental health manager and then working with other psychologists in the area who also do forensic mental health assessments, we noticed that sometimes there was a wait for services, or talking with the jail, there was a wait for services. They needed to have more examiners who were in town in Lubbock, so they didn't have to wait for people to come from out of town from the surrounding areas. So in hoping to address providing quality services as well as more expedited services, we thought that we could set up through the Institute for Forensic Science this program to address those needs. In terms of partners, we get our court orders. All of these are court-ordered evaluations or requests for services that come from various people in the community, but all of them are court-related. So sometimes we get requests directly from judges. Sometimes we get orders just from the mental health coordinator at the Lubbock County courthouse. So I would say our partners are the people that we serve. We are willing to work with any agency that needs these kinds of services, and so there are quite a few. We interact a lot with attorneys. We also provide continuing education services that are related to forensic mental health assessment, and so we've done projects in collaboration with the Lubbock Private Defender's Office, the local indigent defense office here, strictly for the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office and things like that. So I serve as the Director of Forensic Mental Health Services through the Institute for Forensic Science. So what my role does is it involves managing the other examiners that are affiliated. And so at any given time, we have 1 to 2 additional examiners who serve as adjunct faculty within our department, who also then complete the assessments and any other consultation that might be needed. And so we have adjunct faculty that way. But also at Texas Tech, we have, I supervise some doctoral students from the Department of Psychology who assist in these assessments. So it also is a training opportunity for students as well. So the students, they are directly involved in the provision of services. They assist me in doing the evaluations. They assist in the writing of the evaluations as needed. I'm a licensed psychologist, and so I'm able to provide supervision of those services. And then the other adjunct faculty that are affiliated, they are actually completing the assessments themselves. Most of the consultation and the research base all comes out of my lab and through me and my role at the Institute for Forensic Science. So it's a lot of conversation, and most of it is informal. Hey, what have you noticed lately? What are the trends you're noticing here in Lubbock County? How long has the wait list been lately? What are some issues we've encountered in terms of getting records to complete these evaluations? How is it working in terms of coordinating with the other examiners? How can I be helpful? So for example, I recently had a conversation with the attorney who oversees the civil side of competency to stand trial assessments, and we were talking about they have so much data but not a good way to organize the data. And so I was able to come in as a researcher and say, okay, if we set up things this way, here's how you'll be able to better track long-term trends, differences between examiners, things like that. So it's part of my role. When I was hired as a research assistant professor, part of my role was established to be the coordinator of these services and to provide them as well. And so, so the services themselves can be provided But then you receive a payment from the court for completing these sorts of assessments. And so all of that money goes back into training purposes, outreach, purchasing of assessments and equipment, those sorts of things. So it all funds itself. We're able to help assist in keeping that wait list for assessments down in Lubbock County and provide those consultation services that might be needed. Lubbock is a big city, and so as it continues to grow, it's very helpful to have these resources locally as opposed to needing to contact Dallas, Houston, Austin, and try to get some of these services from them. And so by having them locally, we're able to, again, expedite, keep costs down. Plus it benefits the students, it benefits research, it can even benefit teaching. Working with criminally involved or criminal justice involved individuals can be a challenge, and so it takes a lot of training, a lot of patience, knowing how to work with the legal system and work with corrections. And so Tech is able to offer all of those things through its faculty, through its research, and so it brings a lot of benefit to the university, just as recognition of the name that Tech offers this forensic services program. It's tied into training, it's tied into research, and so it's really I can't think of very many other universities that have something similar. So in terms of economically, it sustains itself, and I don't anticipate people stopping committing crimes anytime soon, and so there will always be a need for these types of services through the legal system and through the consultation services we can provide. So as long as there's an interest and the services that we're providing are well received, we will continue to provide them. So in terms of the findings, all of the findings from the research components, the teaching components, the services themselves, they all inform each of those other spokes, if you will. And so from those findings, what we do is we hope to maybe say, hey, maybe we need more examiners in this town. What can we do to get psychologists to stay in Lubbock, to come here to do this type of work, to keep the wait list down, to provide the services that are needed, and to ensure that they're the best quality services that can be provided. And so with the findings from these projects, we're able to build other projects, work with the Lubbock District Attorney's Office on how to keep it rolling, how to work with the courts as to if a person keeps no-showing appointments, what can we do? And so we're here to be a provider of services in whatever way, be it assessments, consultation, providing continuing education, however we can. So outreach and engagement to me means interacting with those who are surrounding you. So not just maybe immediately within an academic department, maybe even within my College of Arts and Sciences, but with the greater community. And I think that Tech has has almost a duty to engage its community. And so I'm really thankful that I can be in a role where I can interact with not just my little academic home, but everybody else surrounding me and contribute to that community.